Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. And if you just discovered my YouTube channel, yay, you're here. You made it. I'm the mom and I do the movie reviews. My goal is to give you the heads up on the content in movies as well as the filmmaking quality so that you can make the best decision for yourself and your family as to whether or not you want to waste your time or your money watching a particular film. Now I say waste because I've wasted a lot of time and money watching terrible movies and I don't want you to. So that's what I'm trying to save you from doing. So today, let me tell you about a new movie that is now available on Amazon Prime. It just dropped. It's called Long Story Short, which I think is a super cute name. The movie is rated R. It's an hour and 30 minutes. And the movie review mom grade I'm giving it is an A minus. And that's actually a really good grade. It's a very simple, sweet story, but I really enjoyed it. So let me give you the scoop. In a nutshell, this is an Australian rom-com, romantic comedy, and it just simply reminds us how quickly time passes and to cherish every moment. I always love that as a reminder. Josh Lawson writes, directs, and stars in this cute movie. I always get a kick out of time loop movies. And in fact, Groundhog Day is one of my all-time favorite charming movies with that same message. Time really does go by fast. And so this feel-good movie really touched my heart. It's funny, charming, and celebrates the idea of YOLO. You only live once, so make it worth it. And don't take that precious time that we have on this earth for granted. So here are some of the things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, Rafe Spall is a revelation. I had never seen him in anything before, but I hope to see more of him. I thought he gave a really cute performance, just had some variety of emotions, facial expressions, great comedic energy, and dramatic moments. I just thought he hit them all, gave me the feels. I just really am a fan now. And then his partner in this movie is Zara Newman. And again, I had never seen her in anything. They're both Australian, as far as I know. And I thought that they were a really good match. There was chemistry, and I thought they did a great job. The cast also includes some other actors that are probably going to be unfamiliar, at least to American audiences. And they are Ronnie Chieng, Dina Kaplan, Noni Hazelhurst, and Ben Taylor. And they all did a great job. There's a reference to the movie Groundhog Day in the movie, as you would imagine. And there's also another reference to Oscar Wilde's 1890 novel called The Picture of Dorian Gray. Again, how fast time flies and what are the remnants that we leave behind? What is our legacy? So I think the title of the film is very, very clever. And I loved the ending of the movie. It was very sweet. Everything isn't necessarily tied up in the bow that you think. There are some twists, but you leave thinking, yeah, I love my life. I've got to appreciate it better. And that's always good, right? There were some things, however, that I didn't like. Not too many, but I'll tell you about those. The very first words that you hear come out of a character's mouth in the movie are, it's profanity. I can't even tell you. WTF. And so I instantly was turned off, and I wondered if all of the characters were going to be completely foul-mouthed during the entire movie. And I just thought, okay, this is not going to be a movie for me. But luckily, that's not the case. Although every character in the movie, I think, does swear a few times. It's just not all the time, which is what I was worried about. So that's good. That's just a big turnoff for me. And really, it's only because of the language that the movie would be considered R-rated in the United States. There's nothing super offensive. You don't see any horrible things or anything like that. So it's just that there are quite a few F-bombs. not all of the transitions for time travel actually run as smoothly as they could. It makes sense when the character falls asleep and then he wakes up and it's a year later. So, okay, maybe I'm jumping ahead. The story is about a man who magically transforms a year later in time. And so first I thought, oh, okay, every time he falls asleep, that's going to happen. But that's not actually the case. Sometimes he's just standing there and this little foggy wispiness kind of comes across the screen. And then all of a sudden, a year later, he's still standing there. So, how does that exactly work? But anyway, it does. It would have been maybe a cute title to call him Rip Van Winkle if he fell asleep and every time he woke up. But, that's, I guess, a different story. Because of the Groundhog Day type of element of time travel, it's fairly predictable. You see the mistakes that are being made, and you think, okay, if he's able to erase all of this, having learned lessons, then that'll be good, but you're not completely confident how that's going to work. And I don't want to give you any spoilers, but in that regard, it's predictable. Of course, this time loop magic is very contrived. There's a little bit of exposition to try to explain it away. So don't get all crazy about it. Just enjoy the ride and imagine what mistakes would you make? What lessons would you learn if that magic fairy dust were sprinkled all over you in your life? So, because it's Australian, every now and then I couldn't quite understand what they were saying. For example, some of the characters talked about something called a pony or something. Now, obviously, I'm American, and even though I travel a lot around the world, I have yet to go to Australia. It's on my bucket list. But they kept talking about some pony thing and something, and I couldn't quite understand what they were saying. I tried to Google what I thought they were saying, and I couldn't find it. Anyway, if you're Australian and you're watching my review, please comment down below. Let me know, does that thing exist in Australia? And if so, what is it? And if it doesn't, what does that word mean? I want to know if it's a thing or not. All right, let me give you some tips for parents. First of all, as I mentioned, there's some profanity and enough F-bombs that qualify this movie to be rated R in the United States. There's talk of sex, although you don't see anything. There's talk of homosexuality, although you don't see anything. It's really a lot of talking and situational humor and the personalities really of our main protagonists that I think is so entertaining. There are plenty of themes worth talking about, such as time, procrastination, and that's really the biggest problem and struggle that our protagonist faces. Is he always says, oh, I'll do it later, or I don't have time for that thing. And a lot of us find ourselves saying that as well. So let us all learn a lesson from his example. Other themes are marriage, divorce, parenting, communication, and again, just making time for the things that are truly most important. Now, whenever I watch movies, I write down funny lines and interesting lines, and I include them in my written movie review at moviereviewmom.com. So you can go over there and see more of those, but I'll share a couple of them with you right now. So in fact, I keep talking about Groundhog Day, and one of the funny lines was when the protagonist is like, I'm having kind of a Groundhog Day thing going on here. And of course, people are like, what are you talking about? And so his buddy's like, Groundhog Day isn't a documentary, because he's trying to figure out how to get out of this time loop. And really, it's only his best friend that even believes that it's happening. And he's only partially believing what's going on. Anyway, it just made me laugh because I love Groundhog Day. And then some of the interesting lines that I thought were really telling and insightful is when a stranger whom the protagonist meets is talking to him, and she's asking him when he's going to get married, when are they going to go on a honeymoon, stuff like that. And he keeps saying, oh, well, later, we don't have time. And she says, I often find later turns into too late. And that's one of the big themes of the movie. And then Another time, Becca, played by Dina Kaplan, says, I've always thought being alone makes you lonely, but you've shown me that being lonely is when you're with the wrong person. I think that is such an important truth to know when you're dating someone and you're thinking, I know some women especially feel like they would rather be with anyone than be alone. And that's not the answer, that it is way better to be single than to be with the wrong person. And then another aspect of life in general is a line spoken by Teddy, who's played by Rafe Spall. And he says, life is too short to not do what you love. And he makes that statement when he finally realizes he has spent the majority of his life at a job that he hates. And a lot of us find ourselves in that situation. And it's scary to leave a job that, especially one that provides security. But if you're going to be miserable, then it's better to let it go and find something that you really love doing, because you're going to spend decades of your life working. So it should be something that you enjoy doing, right? All right, there are a bunch of other lines, but before we go, let me give you some movie recommendations for other films that I think that you also will enjoy if you get a kick out of this movie. Of course, the first movie that came to my mind is Click with Adam Sandler. It has a very cute gimmick where he gets this remote control and he's able to fast forward his life on all of the boring stuff that he doesn't want to do, like listen to his wife nag or listen to the kids yelling and screaming and fighting. And he finds himself fast forwarding the movie where he's almost to the point where he's missed his life. Okay, maybe I gave you too many spoilers on that little review. But if you haven't seen that movie and you're in this kind of mood to evaluate your life and how you are spending your time, check that one out. It's a comedy, but it also is very dramatic in moments. Another movie I just adore is called About Time, and it's about a time traveler and lessons he learns. And anyway, I won't spoil it, but it makes me cry every time I see the movie. But there's also lots of humor. Another one is The Time Traveler's Wife, more serious than comedic, but another one that reminds you to really not take life for granted. And then, of course, Groundhog Day to finish up. If you haven't seen that movie, you absolutely need to see that movie. All right, that is it for my movie review. I hope if you watch this movie that you enjoy it, and more importantly, that you stop and smell the roses and really enjoy these miraculous moments of our life that fly by way too fast. All right, until my next movie review, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.